Hello, and thanks for joining in today. My name's David Bellino. I am the owner of Sportivo Bellino, which is a mental performance consulting practice here in the West Coast, in the United States. And I just wanted to make a few videos just to explain what mental performance is. Sometimes I get asked that question. So here goes. Today I'd like to address a question that I get relatively often. I'll go in and I'll talk to an athletic director or a team or organization or an athlete, and I'll tell them that I'm a mental performance consultant. And I get a number of different reactions. Some people know what that is, some people don't know what that is. Some people will say, well, what's that? And other people will say, well, aren't you a sports psychologist? And other people say, like, I've never heard of mental performance. And what I'd like to do is just put together a series of videos that kind of explains what that is, what mental performance is, and unravel this mental performance puzzle that we have. So let's get started. The way I think about mental performance in this mental performance puzzle is kind of that we need to rewire our collective brain. If we think about the internet as our collective identity or our collective thoughts, what separates you from the information that you want is an internet search. And an internet search kind of goes with the vocabulary that's normalized in our society and on our culture. And right now, mental performance isn't wired into our brains. It isn't wired into our vocabulary or our thought process quite yet. So we need to start to rewire that. We need to start to build an identity for mental performance consultants. And I think the easiest services are the ones that are easiest to find. You know, if a pipe breaks in your house and you know that you need to get a plumber, the plumber has a recognized title. You search plumber in your area, and you call them and they come and fix your pipe. Hopefully, it's a pretty easy process. We want the same process to go for mental performance consultants. Now, I want to be clear. The field of mental performance hasn't exactly made this any easier. And what I mean by that is not everyone uses the title mental performance consultant. So, for instance, we have mental performance coaches, we have mental performance consultants, we have mental skills coaches, we have mental skills consultants, we have high performance coaches and consultants, we have peak performance coaches and consultants, and any number of combinations of those titles or words. And on one hand, it's kind of neat that anyone can use whatever title that they want, but on the other hand, we've actually made it harder for us to find. Now, I should mention that this conversation is local to the United States. Other countries use different titles and terms, but here in the United States, sports psychology was replaced with mental performance. And when that happened, it kind of created a divide, which says the word psychology equates with a disorder, and the word performance just equates with performance improvement. And that divide is a little bit confusing because a lot of people have at least heard of sports psychology in the past, but maybe not heard of mental performance. And that's what I was getting to earlier about creating identity or rewiring our brain and creating a vocabulary around the words mental performance, because we've moved away from sports psychology into mental performance. So one of the first questions people might ask is, do I need a sports psychologist? And the fastest answer to that is, well, if you have a disorder, yes, you need a sports psychologist. But if you don't have a disorder and you just want to focus on your improvement, then you only need to see a mental performance consultant. Perhaps one way to look at this is to equate a mental performance consultant with a strength and conditioning coach. If you want to improve physically, you go see your strength and conditioning coach. If you want to improve mentally, you go and see your mental performance consultant. If you have a disorder, a psychological disorder, you go and see a psychologist. If you have a bad injury, you go and see an orthopedic. So an orthopedic and a strength and conditioning coach aren't the same. Their training and their education is different, and that's the same on the psychology and mental performance side. And I do believe there's a shift. I think more people are becoming aware of what mental performance is. They're seeing the value of what mental performance consultants and coaches can bring, and they're starting to add them to the staff. Right now, Major League Baseball and the U.S. Olympics and the U.S. military are probably the pioneers for mental performance, but you also see mental performance coaches in NHL, in Major League Soccer, or the NBA. So it's definitely growing in prevalence, but it's still a little bit new. And you see mental performance, perhaps everyone in Major League Baseball knows what that is, or every Olympic athlete knows what that is, but maybe not every high school athlete knows what that is quite yet. And that's why I say we need to build. We need to do what we can do to build our vocabulary, to create a little bit more of a rewiring of our brain so we understand and know what mental performance is. In upcoming videos, I'd like to get into more details about what mental performance consultants are and what they do, and kind of give examples of mental performance in action, or applied mental performance as we call it.